micro needle RF.
Sure.
And I already tell you I think the micro needling is it's time of the developing. I think in the field of the right laser, we have a pico, nano,
sure,
millisecond, and
sure.
1 hertz, 10 hertz,
Right.
very complicated, mixed. But I think this day, secret RF, Vivace, that's just like in my opinion, it's just like the only long pulse lasers. But we can expand and more well developed needlings. The first step is this day they divided the pulse. But the next step is it's my personal opinions. I want to, these days we inject a pulse and back, it takes about 1 or 2
sure.
minutes. What's your opinions with the micro needlings and
I think
the frequency?
Micro needling is a very complex field, okay? And part of the problems is if you believe the claims the RF micro needling makers make, you can have one view of what it does. So my view has always been, whatever they say, I try to validate with histology, okay? So the whole reason we talk about LIOBs is because I did the histology, found out what they were. That was kind of something I've always liked to do. So a lot of times I've taken these RF microneedling devices and I look at the results in the skin after the microneedling. So some of these insulated needles claim that they go and cause a deep injury because of the insulation and then the way it works. Well, we've done histology in a number of, and I'm not going to mention the names, but we found out that the insulation does not work and that the injury is largely in the superficial part of the dermis. And that insulator is, number one, damaged in the treatment, and number two, acts as a capacitor. So I think it depends upon the quality of the materials that are made. Just because they say there's insulation and it's going to go someplace doesn't mean that it does it in the human body. So I think we have to be somewhat critical and we have to make sure they're histologically validated. Now, even if it doesn't deliver a deep injury, doing a superficial injury is going to result in some degree of rejuvenation. We have the thulium laser, like the Ultra that Lutronic has launched. It's been very effective in delivering a superficial injury that's very well tolerated with low downtime and leads to a lot of rejuvenation. So I think whether you're using a pico or whatever, it depends what injury, but I would always urge all of us to be cautious about accepting claims without histological validation of this. And unfortunately, I don't know if we can always believe some of the histology that's done with some of these companies. I think it's good to have a healthy degree of skepticism sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the next question is, you are using the DermaV.
Sure.
532 long pulse.
Yes.
And my clinic have the XLVs. And what is the advantage?
XLV?
Yeah, XLV. It's very similar, but what is the big difference between the former long pulse 532 and compared to the DermaV?
Well, let me say, I start this conversation with a very big bias, okay? And my bias is, I love pulse-dye laser, okay? We started on this, we developed the V-Star 23, 24 years ago. We worked on the Synergy, we made the Synergy, we brought it here to Korea in the early 2000s. I love pulse-dye laser, okay?
Yeah.
The problem with pulse-dye laser is that the companies that make them are not starting to support them anymore, and so and it's time that we have a solid state replacement for this someday. I still like my Synergy, okay? I'm never gonna say I never like it. I like my Synergy. But that technology is becoming old, it's becoming dated. So we need something that's configured like my favorite laser, the pulse dye laser. And so when you look at XLV, and I started my work in 532 many years ago with a device called the VersaPulse, which was a long pulse 532 with a contact cooler. And I was very happy with it, but then they stopped supporting it and the device disappeared and got old and broke. So I was doing pulse dye laser, Synergy, and I still use it today in my clinic, but I was intrigued by the DermaV, and the reason I was intrigued, it has the same attributes that you can use with your XLV. In other words, if you want to have a single pulse at 40 milliseconds or 10 milliseconds, you can have it. But realize that's a relatively low energy pulse. What you can get with the DermaV is you can get a subpulse structure, okay? And you could get, for instance, at 40 milliseconds, you can have a submilli with 8 subpulses, or a submicro with, and the submilli pulses are 1.5 milliseconds, or a 0.33 milliseconds with the submicro. And you could target different blood vessels with these subpulse structures. The idea is that we could have a subpulse structure that makes it operate like a pulsed eye laser. And again, pulsed eye laser has a legacy of efficacy and safety. One of the disadvantages in the 532 world that we're trying to understand and better get is that sometimes the swelling that occurs with either higher fluence or multiple passes. So with a longer pulse, say 40 milliseconds with these subpulses, we can also do something we call chromophore shifting. In other words, you can take oxyhemoglobin, heat it up, start a process where you generate some methemoglobin, and then the blood heats together, congeals, and makes a clot. And if you look at the absorption characteristics of clot as it occurs in a longer pulse, it's much higher at 532 clot than oxyhemoglobin. So if we can chromophore shift during these longer pulses, and I think you're more likely to do that with a subpulse structure where you heat and cool, that I think this could be more successful. So we're exploring that right now. So I'm excited about the DermaV because it looks to me, from what I've seen initially, is that it can operate like an XLV. You can do the same pulse structure if you want. It can operate with many of the characteristics of a pulsed eye laser with the subpulse structure. And then it also has a very effective cryogen cooling that's a lot of people really enjoy as well, that you can use before or after the pulse. So I like getting new devices. I like getting devices that push technology, and I think we're in the process of better understanding this. But again, it can function like your older XLV right now, like it is today, and we're also learning that there's some advantages, especially in the longer subpulse structure, like 40 milliseconds, with using a DermaV. So I'm very excited to have a modern, updated version of a laser that can perform with what appears to be much like an older XLV or the newer or the older pulsed eye, and combines it all in one. So it's exciting, and we're exploring that right now.
Okay. You are very you are very one of the heavy users of the pulsed eye lasers.
Yes.
But you have the DermaV these days.
Sure.
Can you personally, the DermaV can be replacement of the pulsed eye laser?
I mean, that's certainly the anticipation, and I think that we're working on better understanding this in such a way that we can optimize it in a way that makes it perform like that. I'm in the process of evaluating that now, and we're optimistic that, again, we can adjust what we're doing in such a way. My hope and my anticipation is we're going to make it virtually identical to the pulsed eye laser, but with the benefit of a solid state device that's very easy to maintain. Pulsed eye laser is a very complicated device. You have these flash lamps, high energy, high temperature, and then the way it works with dye is very complex. The dye is not stable, the dye is toxic, it's hard to get. So again, I think we actually need a replacement for the pulsed eye at some point. I still use my Synergy a lot. I like it. I'm not saying bad things about Synergy. I like my Synergy. But I think the future is going to probably be in the solid state world, and I think we have to, if you're going to invest in the future, you want to take a look at that. And I think that we're in the process of better understanding this and optimizing it to, we hope, make work much like a pulsed eye laser.
Okay. I know you used a lot of the Lutronic device. What is the difference? What is advantage? What is the benefit from that kind of the machines of the Lutronic?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, like any time you buy a product from a company, you want to make sure the company can, number one, deliver a product, number two, stands behind the product, and the product is well made. So when I look at that, and my dealing with, I dealt only with a few companies because you cannot work with everyone because there's only so many things you can study in a career. I've always found the scientists at Lutronic top notch. The quality of their products is very good. It's very dependable. So I find the Lutronic products very good. I find companies like Cynosure very good, but Lutronic in particular, I mean, I have their DermaV. I have the Ultra. I think they're just very well made products. We've been using the Ultra for many years now. It's a very good product, very dependable. I've not had a service call on that or my DermaV. The DermaV I've had for over a year, no problem at all. The Ultra I've had for a number of years, no problem. So I like the products are well made. In fact, if you go visit the factory, you could see how well they're put together by the employees there. I've met with the scientists a number of times. They're top-notch scientists, absolutely top-notch. So I think you as Koreans should be very proud of Lutronic.
Yeah.
I think it's a great company.
I absolutely agree. Lutronic is very fast feedback, especially in the field of the AS, after service, very quick response.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't know about service because my devices don't need service. They function very well. So I don't know about service, but when it comes to a company right now, I think it's one of the world's leading companies. And I think they're posed with the way they're structured to continue to innovate. And actually innovation is really what's going to make the field better in the future. So I think we as physicians have somewhat of an obligation also to work with them to kind of better understand the technologies and help them improve it. And they're very open to feedback and how to make their devices even better. And you know, once you have a device like the DermaV, you know, altering a pulse structure or doing something else is very easy to do. And it's just a matter of us giving us feedback so we can continue to evolve and continue to improve things. And I think with these modern platforms that they make, it's very easy to upgrade, change as time goes on. So I think your investment is probably safe and very well placed.
Okay. So these days, very young, not of patients, but customers, he is no problems. Only about 20 or 30 young women want to improve the more liftings and he want more beautiful face.
Sure.
So, and these days in Korea, there is popular potions in the young women.
Sure.
But how about in the US, in your clinic? Is the same?
Yeah, so let me understand, I am a data-driven person, okay? You give me data about something, I want to see it validated in work. So what I've done in my career, I've studied medications for photo damage, okay? Photo aging. And I clearly, after all the studies we've done over the years, I found that topical retinoids in our data, the data is clear. Topical retinoids over extended period of time work. So whether I'm doing any sort of cosmetic aesthetic procedure, I always encourage my patients to use a topical retinoid. Now understand that there's a lot of antioxidants and other medications here, growth factors. The problem with growth factors that I see is the data is, they're viewed as cosmeceuticals, so the data on them is very soft. In the US, the retinoids had, in order to get approval, had to go through clinical trial, be tested over extended periods of time. We participated in those, but those were done a long time ago when I was much younger at your age, when in my career. So now I've had the advantage of doing those trials, and I'm still of the vision that topical retinoids are an incredibly important part of a photorejuvenation and a rejuvenation regime where there's data for any age, okay? I use retinoids for acne in a 9-year-old child, but I also use retinoids in an older person who's 60 or 70 years of age. Or I use it in someone with acne scars. There's good data with retinoids, and Galderma generated them with both adapalene and triferritine for acne scars. So I'm a big believer in data. So yes, we can use all our cosmeceuticals to kind of give patients the kind of aesthetic experience that they're liking. But if I'm going to bet on something, I'm going to bet on a topical retinoid.
Okay.
And also our lasers and light devices. So I might be doing a fractional picosecond laser on somebody because they want to rejuvenate, decrease pore size. I might do a thulium such as the Ultra as well. So those are all things that you can use as adjunctive methods with very low downtime, very safe, and then they make their skin look refreshed and it makes it look good.
Okay. What would you like to say to your junior dermatologists around the world, especially in the era of the AI areas?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have some kind of threatened, but sometimes we can use our good tools.
Yeah, I'm not intimidated by AI at all. Okay, AI is our friend when we look at control of these lasers and light devices. Okay, there are some things that we can do as an individual, but our reaction time could be very slow and could be too far delayed. So we've worked on an acne laser with a company called The Cure. It's 1726 nanometer light, and we pulse it in a multi-pulse mode and build up the energy to reach a certain temperature in the sebaceous gland that's reflected in the epidermis. We're measuring temperature as the treatment's going, and then if it gets too hot, we turn the energy up, or if it's in the multi-pulse structure, if it's too low, if it's too low, we turn it up, and if it's too high, we turn it down. I cannot do that within a second or two. We have AI assisted there that allows us to do that because we're monitoring the temperature as we're doing it. So AI has allowed me to do this in a more accurate way and treat it safer. So if you're monitoring the temperature as you're doing it, if it gets too hot, the AI will either turn the energy down or turn it off. It's, as a human, you cannot react that quickly.
Yes, yeah.
But AI permits it. So I'm really excited about AI in our field. I think it's going to make our treatment safer. So when I turn my laser over to the nurse, my acne laser, I feel very comfortable that AI is going to protect my patient and protect my nurse, okay? So everybody gets a safer treatment. And because when I was doing it myself and trying to adjust and anticipate what's going to happen, it was very stressful. You know, if you're always changing fluences on your laser and you're looking, you're going back and forth, you do that for an hour, it's hard on your mind and hard on your body, and you always so worry about the patient. This way here, I think AI has the potential for us to be of great benefit for efficacy and safety, just so long as we know how to use it. So an exciting future, I think.
Thank you for your wonderful sharing your experience in Korea, and I hope maybe you may back to your countries 2 or 3 days later, but I hope you not only focusing on the medical things, I hope you enjoy the Korean food and anything good in the experience Korea. And
well, it's my pleasure, number one, to meet you today. It's been a great honor for me to meet you. It's been a great honor to visit your wonderful clinic. But I always enjoy coming to Korea because there's people like you who are scientifically driven, trying to practice the best medicine they can. And it's my pleasure to come here to interact with you and have a conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.